Imagine standing in the middle of Berlin in 1945. Every direction you look, there is nothing but ash, broken concrete, and silence. More than 70% of Germany's major cities had been reduced to rubble. Industrial output had collapsed. Millions were dead, displaced, or starving. The country had been split into occupation zones controlled by foreign powers. By almost every measure, Germany was finished as a functioning nation, let alone an economic force. Yet within 3 decades, this same country would become the largest economy in Europe and one of the most powerful in the entire world. The story of how that happened is one of the most remarkable economic transformations in modern history. The first turning point came in June 1948 when West Germany introduced the Deutsche Mark to replace the nearly worthless Reichsmark. This was not just a currency swap, it was a psychological and structural reset. Overnight, black markets collapsed because real money had value again. People who had been hoarding goods suddenly had reason to sell them. Shelves that had been empty for years began filling up within days. The currency reform was paired with the removal of price controls, a bold and controversial move championed by economist Ludwig Erhard. Critics warned it would cause chaos. Instead, it ignited a fire. Consumers could buy, businesses could plan, and the economy began breathing again for the first time in years. Around the same time, the United States launched the Marshall Plan, channeling approximately $1.4 billion into West Germany between 1948 and 1952. While this represented only a fraction of total reconstruction costs, its impact went far beyond the dollar amount. The funding helped stabilize confidence, modernize infrastructure, and signal to the world that West Germany was open for business. Crucially, the Marshall Plan came with conditions that encouraged free market policies and European economic cooperation. These conditions pushed Germany toward the kind of disciplined, export-oriented economic model that would define it for generations. The investment was not charity, it was a strategic bet, and it paid off enormously. By the 1950s, West Germany was growing at rates that stunned economists worldwide. Gross domestic product expanded by an average of 8% annually throughout the decade. Unemployment, which had been catastrophically high, fell to nearly zero by the early 1960s. This period became known as the Wirtschaftswunder, which translates directly to economic miracle. But it was not truly miraculous. It was the result of disciplined fiscal policy, a highly skilled labor force, and a manufacturing sector rebuilt with modern equipment rather than outdated machinery. Because Germany's old factories had been destroyed, new ones were built from scratch using the latest technology, giving German industry a competitive edge that older industrial nations like Britain simply could not match. Central to Germany's rise was its deeply embedded culture of engineering excellence and vocational training. The apprenticeship system, known as the dual education model, trained millions of workers in highly specialized technical skills while keeping them employed. This produced a workforce that was both educated and immediately productive. German companies, particularly in automobiles, chemicals, and machinery, became synonymous with precision and quality. Brands like Volkswagen, Siemens, and BASF did not just sell products, they built reputations that opened doors in markets across the globe. Germany's export-driven model meant that its prosperity was tied to global demand, forcing constant innovation and efficiency improvements to stay competitive. Germany's transformation from wartime devastation to economic dominance was not accidental, and it was not painless. It required sound monetary policy, strategic foreign investment, a commitment to education and skilled labor, and a cultural willingness to rebuild rather than retreat. The country made difficult choices early, accepted short-term hardship for long-term stability, and built institutions that rewarded productivity over speculation. What Germany demonstrated is that economic recovery is not simply about resources or geography. It is about decisions, discipline, and the collective will to construct something lasting from the wreckage of what came before. That lesson remains as relevant today as it was in the ruins of 1945.